So, welcome to our partnership forum. Our next speaker is someone who brings nearly 3 decades of experience in delivery and operation, significantly contributing to operational excellence and process engineering within global capability centers. His career journey, which is impressive, includes pivotal roles at HSBC, Perot Systems, and Deloitte. Today, we're honored to welcome Senior Vice President and Lead for GCC and InspireEdge, Ram Kompatali Prasad. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what is a global capability center, the evolution, some global scenarios, key factors. So if your company's thinking about setting one up, that'll help you. The legal entity, the infrastructure. He'll talk about talent acquisition. I'm sure a lot of people maybe are skeptical about that. Operational excellence, knowledge transfer, and why InspireEdge. And it's really kind of an interesting topic that he's got here because basically the idea is they can set up a global capability center and then transfer it over to your company after they set it up a year into the program. So with that, without further delay, Ram, take it over.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, Ram.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, America, and good evening, India. As Joe said, I'm Ram. I'm the Senior Vice President with InspireEdge. I lead the GCC vertical called Extend. Pleasure to be here and talking to you. I'm not very sure how many of you are familiar with what is GCC. Okay. Basically, GCC is a global capability center. Earlier, they used to call it different names. Outsourcing is a very prominent name that we all heard. Or offshoring is another word. So typically, a GCC, a global capability center, is an extension of a strategic entity outside a parent company, right? So initially, when they started in early 2000s, the multinational companies or Fortune 500 companies have started these, and over a period of time, we see MSMEs in any company, particularly in US, they start working with the GCCs. The striking difference between a GCC and a conventional outsourcing is GCC is a fully owned entity, operated and extended from a different perspective from the parent company. So with that said, I'll quickly take you through what is the current status of GCCs in India. GCCs has been a buzzword, and every week we see a new GCC opening up in India. And there are a lot of awareness sessions, seminars conducted, and even the job market is buzzing with GCC as more and more companies come and start opening their GCCs in India. So at this point of time, we have close to 1950 GCCs already functional in India, and the number is expected to grow more in coming years. Moving on with the evolution of GCCs, as I told you earlier in 2000, purely from a cost arbitrage, they have started these cost captive centers, wherein day-to-day operational or low complex work, or if I have to say back office work like customer support, finance related, IT support, this kind of work used to happen, and we have all Fortune 500 companies who thought they would get a cost advantage started their GCCs in India. Moving forward, 2005 to 13, 2005 to 2012, that's the time, with the experience of working for 5 years, they have started enhancing their processes, and started looking at efficiencies, and some complex work also started coming in from the GCCs. This period actually witnessed emerging of some center of excellence, so to say, a hub for a specific activity, like it could be sales, and marketing related support, product development, or engineering. That was the phase between 2005 to 12. And with the emergence of emerging technologies like blockchain, cloud computing, AI, 13 to 23 is a major shift happened, wherein companies have started investing in the new technologies because predominantly these technologies help companies to drive innovation, right? So this trend continued in the present after 23. We have scores of companies coming to India to start their global capability centers. We from InspireEdge successfully completed a huge global innovation capability center for one of our unified communications clients from US. We closed that build, operate, transition model in 18 months. We've concluded that project in 2024 June. Next slide, June. So now, if you look at the global scenario, what are the major economies that are investing? Obviously, North America, and we have Europe. These two, contribute to almost 65% of GCCs that are functioning in India at this point of time. Then comes Japan. Japan is particularly the healthcare global capability centers are increasing. They contribute to 17%, and China about 5%, and remaining countries, regions contribute to 13% of the GCCs that exist in India today. And if you look at some of the industries, that are investing, obviously IT software is lead the wagon at 18%. Then we have computer and electronics followed with 14%. Healthcare is picking up. It's at 11, and as per the reports, it's expected to touch 15, 16 by the end of this year. So predominantly these are the industries, and we have looked at the regions. Now look at the next slide, please, Joe. Now look at some of the key factors. For example, if someone from US wanted to come and establish a global capability center in India, these are the key factors one should be aware of. First and foremost, the regulatory and compliance, we call it as statutory. We have a register of companies handled by the central government. One should be aware of the local governance, and rules, regulations, and statutory compliance, legal entity establishment. So once you are done with the legal entity establishment, then comes the infrastructure. Based on the industry, again, in India, as I told, the GCC hubs are increased. We have Bangalore, known for the IT. Hyderabad is for healthcare and IT mixed. When you go to down south in Chennai, it's for banking and insurance companies. And interestingly, we have some tier 2 cities like Vizag, again, coming up with IT-related GCCs. We have Coimbatore. So it is very important to understand which domain, which industry you come from. And based on that, we also have the talent availability in these hubs. So you have to choose strategically the infrastructure where you want to start. Then you can also see what kind of technologies do you need to support. And also obviously last but definitely not least, the facility in itself. And within facility, and today we'll take a deep dive in the next slides, but people prefer to have some aesthetic because it's very difficult to get people back to work. So you want to have a wonderful workplace for them to feel like coming back to work, right? So just go back to one, Joe. I just need to, yeah. So third pillar is the talent acquisition. Definitely based on the available. India is a nation with young, skilled, talented availability in abundance. That is one of the major reasons why a lot of companies are starting the GCC in India. And also the government support. Government policies are really encouraging global capability centers to flourish. With that said, once we kind of do the acquisition, talent acquisition is done, it's all about streamlining the operations. And also, as very, very important thing is now we talked about what is GCC. It's very, very important to integrate the cultural integration between the parent company as well as the company that's the GCCs in India. The parent company should understand the work culture, what are the different norms, workplaces that work in India. Similarly, the people working from India should understand the US culture. So it is very, very important to have that cultural integration conducted at the beginning of the journey. Moving on. Now let's take a deep dive into each of these parameters. One of the key factors, as I told you, legal entity. If one has to come from US, and establish a GCC, it will be definitely challenging, I'll tell you, because as such, the statutory, legal processes are very lengthy, very complex. It will be difficult for someone to come from US and straight away understand. Two, they are very, very time consuming. There are so many rules, and regulations. You have local government, we call it a state government. You have federal government, like central government. So one has to coordinate. You need to have support from a chartered accountant and a legal lawyer. We call it as in terms attorney. So you need to have very good support system to start the legal entity. then there will be quite a few labor laws. If you have to run a payroll, there has to be an account created for the employee with provident fund, pension scheme, so on and so forth. So legal entity is always advisable to go with a good partner. And if you are looking for starting a GCC, InspireEdge could be your right partner. We will spend more time what InspireEdge does and how we do it in later slides. And I just want to spend a minute on the types of legal entities. So when you want to start a legal entity in India, there are different types of legal entities that you can start with. It could be a proprietary individual firm, or it could be a group of persons coming together in a partnership form, or an organization creating a legal entity. Moving on, let's look at the infrastructure. Again, as I told you earlier, depending on which industry, you have to choose a strategic location. If it's IT, usually we recommend them to go to Bangalore, where you have the talent availability is in abundance, as well as you have good infrastructure availability. And similarly, if you're coming from a healthcare or a automobile or even IT related, Hyderabad is the right next to Bangalore competing. So the strategic element of your business with the location is very, very important. And similarly, the real estate. There is a variance obviously between city to city in terms of the real estate cost. Then, based on the preference of the client, we would recommend the strategic location. And what we need to keep in mind is how secure and not scalable. For example, you may want to start with, let's say, 100 people, but down the line in 6 to 8 months, if you want to increase it to 300 or 400, the facility that you are going for, is it scalable or not? That's very, very important factor one has to keep in mind. And obviously, cost. Anyone is coming that far is looking for a cost advantage. Then 24/7 support and maintenance. And on the left hand side, I have given the 1 second, Joe. On the left hand side, that what you see is InspireEdge has good partner ecosystem in terms of real estate as well. We have workplaces ready across these cities, close to 3 lakh SFT. So if you ask me, can you give me a facility? Probably 45 to 60 days maximum. We have the shares ready. Now we can prepare as per your aesthetic infrastructure, whatever interiors that you want. We can make it operational in 60 days time. Next one is on the talent acquisition, which is very, very important milestone in any organization. If you want to start a GCC, you would definitely need to have the talent acquisition with the right strategies, using the technologies, and there will be multi-level screening happening, rigorous screening happens, and based on the business, there would be customized trainings required. So talent plays a critical role. We had a great experience. As I told you earlier, we have established a GICC last year, wherein we have screened close to 8 to 9,000 profiles to finalize last 350 engineers across different OEMs, right? So it's just a humongous task, but you need to have the right team to do that. Talent acquisition is another important factor that would determine your success of establishing and optimizing GCCs. Moving on, the operation excellence. Once you have established, you have to look at the standard operational procedures, identify the gaps, continuously look for how can you improve things upon, and identify, what is the gap? Can I automate anything? Is it the only way of doing it? Can I better improve things? It's a constant quest to improve. You need to have a mindset to improve, and work in tandem. And wherever you can automate, that helps everyone, right? And look for continuous improvement. So at InspireEdge, operation excellence is our core strength. From time to time, we have internal teams working in tandem, and I also lead the operation excellence. We identify different processes. We try to see how is it the only way. Can we do it any better? Can I automate any of this, which can improve the efficiency and reduce the time taken? So this is a constant urge to learn and improve that helps us to move forward. And as Joe was saying, when we did the GICC establishment, one of the key important thing is once we do the BOT stands for build, operate, and transfer. We have the resources on our payroll. We kind of streamline the operations and we transfer. One of the important component is knowledge transfer, right? If you don't do the knowledge transfer properly, all your efforts will go in vain. So moving on to the next slide, Joe, we will talk about this knowledge transfer. At InspireEdge, we have comprehensive documentation right from the beginning, to the end. A complete project plan is clearly given. At the same time, even for the knowledge transition that we are doing it, each and every, it could be the assets, it could be the infrastructure transfer, it could be the resources, it could be the kind of training material, it could be the intellectual property, what is written in the contract. Everything is documented, and we make sure that everything is transitioned seamlessly for a successful continuation of the business. And obviously, we will be always around. If you need any support, the ongoing support will continue. So with that said, I would like to spend next 3 minutes on why InspireEdge, what is that makes us different, and why what is our approach in establishing GCCs. So moving on to the next slide, Joe. So as I've told you, we have great leadership team with humongous experience of establishing offshore organizations in India. And we are focused on process engineering, with the local integration. We have great partner ecosystem in terms of legal entity establishment. You talk about real estate or infrastructure. You talk about the operational excellence, and you talk about the talent. We have an amazing team. We use latest technologies like AI. We have a lot of vendors. We have partner ecosystem, global access to the talent availability. In the previous engagement, I had people working from Canada. I had people working from Middle East. I also had people working from Singapore, apart from India, different parts of India. Now, this was possible only because we have great network of global talent availability, and we have a wonderful team of talent. We call it as people and culture. Especially, the team continues to focus on the talent acquisition. The other team focuses on employee engagement, which has. I'm very proud to say that normal acceptable attrition percentage in the industry in India is 25%. Per annum. We managed it below 13% for the entire 18 months time. So it talks volumes about the work culture that we have. And why InspireEdge? Because of the comprehensive GCC, we provide end-to-end, right from beginning to the end. We provide comprehensive GCC solutions. Agility is our strength. We are very quick. We are very seasoned. As I told you again, we have good partner system available. If you're talking about a legal entity, normally it takes 3 to 4 months minimum. And it could go longer also if someone has to come from US and start on their own. But when you go with InspireEdge, right, we have the partner ecosystem. We have some very good chartered accountants partners with us, and we have legal entity systems. We can not only complete it, in a faster time. We can give you timely updates on the progress as well. So we follow, the next slide is we follow a 3-phase approach. If someone wants to start global capability center in India, the first thing is we definitely want to sit with them, understand what is their business, okay, and we want to do the strategic consulting. What exactly they want to do, with the GCC? What are their long-term plans? Then we'll kind of suggest based on their requirements. We kind of prepare a GCC blueprint for the potential client. We tell them if you want to start healthcare GCC, this location will help you from a talent availability perspective. This location is very strategic. You will also get a better price in terms of going for a infrastructure. So in phase 1, we do all the gathering of the information of the client. We kind of do the consulting and we give our suggestion based on the client decision. We move to the next phase. That's the GCC setup. Here we talked about the legal entity establishment, right? We have a team with 20 plus years of experience of doing these statutory and legal entity establishments. They work with us. We have actually handled at a time we could do multiple legal entity establishments as well. We have that capacity. So that is the second phase. Once we agree on the location, when the client agrees on the location, the kind of GCC they want to go for, we move to the statutory. Then comes the facility finalization, and the last phase. That is where the talent acquisition begins. We start onboarding people. There will be some internal trainings going on to acclimatize them with the culture. We will onboard them. Then we'll have the process streamlining, then we kind of streamline everything and move on to the final. And in this entire process, IT infrastructure, is very, very critical. So we have an amazing team that takes care of all the IT requirements. So the workspace management, typically for those of you who don't know, when you are starting a GCC in India, typically they work in US shifts, right? That is night time in India. So there are labor laws that we need to provide, transportation for the employees. If there is a female employees, you also give security because they go at odd hours, probably 3:30 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. So you should not send any female employee alone in the cab. So you have to give security. So you need to have a strong workspace management system. You need to have a strong operations team in place. We have all that. We've done it earlier, and we will be glad. If any of you are interested, we'll be more than glad to get into a dialogue, and help you establish global capability centers. So with that, I'll just take a pause. I hope I was able to cover in the given time, Joe. Are we good with the time?
You did a great job.